Welcome to Liechtenstein. You should consider visiting here on your next trip to Italy or Switzerland. It's so small that you may even forget it exists. But this country is one of the richest in the entire world, and I'm here to show you what this tiny nation is all about. Liechtenstein! Liechtenstein! So how did a nation this small become so rich? Well, we'll get to that. Stick with me. This place is unique. Only 25 kilometers from north to south and 9 kilometers east to west, 62 square miles, about the same size as Washington, D.C., more or less. On the western side, there's one big highway and, of course, the River Rhine, which divides it from Switzerland. On the east, well, it's the Alps, and over there is Austria. It's only one of 2 countries in the entire world that's double landlocked, the other one being Uzbekistan. And by that I mean it has 1 country and 2 countries separating it from water, from the open seas. This is unique also in that it still has a monarchy after all these years, and they've all been dissolved all around Europe. And we're here today in Vaduz, the capital of the country, with only around 5,200 inhabitants. In total in the whole country, it has around 40,000 citizens and no major airport. How often do you get to stroll through a capital where the royal family still lives in a castle right above you? That's the Vaduz capital right there, towering above the city of Vaduz. And yeah, the royal family's still in charge here. How did they come in charge? Well, it was a matter of money. Back in the days, in the 1600s or so, the Liechtenstein family wanted to be royalty. They wanted their own kingdom, and the only way they could do it was purchase this bit of land here that is now Liechtenstein to become theirs, and they could become the rulers of this land. This was back in the 1600s. They did so, and they didn't even live here for many years. It wasn't until the 1900s when they moved their residence here to Liechtenstein. And after all these years, they're still in control. The king, he's called Hans Adam II. His son, the crown prince, does a lot of administrative work here, Alois. I hope I'm pronouncing the name right. They live up there in the castle. We can't visit this castle, but it's opened up once a year on August 15th when they have the festival, and all the townspeople, anyone in the country is welcomed up there. They have beers, and the royal family is quite welcomed here. And out of all the, I think, 12 nation states in Europe that still has a monarchy, this is one where the monarchy is still so strong. You have the place like the Vatican, which still has an absolute monarchy, but most of the places now are constitutional monarchies. Think like Great Britain. But here it's a semi-constitutional monarchy, leaning more towards an absolute monarchy. And by that I mean the royal family has control at every level of government. In 2003, there was a referendum to limit their control, and the royalty threatened to leave the country and take all their money with them if that referendum was to stick. Well, it didn't, and the royal family is still well in charge here. I just wish we could get up to that castle. Remember how I said I'd explain to you how a country this small became so rich? Well, it struck gold, green currency, when it offered itself as a tax haven to tax dodgers all around the world, a bit like Switzerland over to the west. In fact, Zurich is only an hour's drive from here across the river and over to the west. Now, doing so over the years, it became a financial powerhouse. It has other big industries. For instance, I think it's the largest exporter of dentures in the entire world, but its financial hub, well, that powers the whole country and makes it one of the richest countries per capita in the entire world. There are more banks when you walk around here than bakeries, and there's a good reason why with all the financial dealings that are going on. Now in 2008, there was a bit of a meltdown because an insider sold off a whole bunch of account information from the Royal Trust to foreign tax inspectors that detailed all sorts of tax dodging activities and all sorts of tax shelter activities, and this exposed Liechtenstein to its dirty, shady dealings, and as such, they were blacklisted for a while and forced to implement new rules to fall in line with European transparency guidelines. And today they say things are better, but for sure that person changed more of Liechtenstein's history than anyone else in its history. Vaduz may be small, but its art scene definitely isn't. If you can make your way through the walls and into the castle up there, you could check out some of His Serene Highness's art collection, but we can't do that. So you're gonna have to be content with a couple of the big museums that are here in town. One is that black cubicle building, the Modern Art Museum. In there, it's pretty cool, walk around. Also, there's the National Art Museum that houses many significant art pieces, also art pieces that are connected with the country's history, so you get to learn a little bit about the history of Liechtenstein when you're in there as well. Now, one of the things I enjoy just walking the main drag here of Vaduz and breathing in the Alpine air, making your way down there also to the Florian Cathedral, this neo-Gothical cathedral. All of it together makes Vaduz, I think, worth a train ride over from Zurich, which is what I'm doing here today. And we'll get into the whole of Liechtenstein here in a minute, so stick with me. Let's talk about why the quality of life here is so darn good. It has one of the highest GDPs in the entire world, and that's saying something for such a small country. Of all the big companies that have their tax havens, their banks sheltered here in the capital of Vaduz, it's around 180 billion with the B dollars that are housed here in tax shelters and so on in the banks through all the diverse companies. And that means through reinvestments, through interest, Liechtenstein is continually gaining more and more money. And that works out to around about 2 companies and $50 million per citizen in Liechtenstein. For a country so small with more companies based here than cows, Liechtenstein punches well above its weight. And to give you an idea of the net worth of Hans Adam II, His Highness, he has a net worth of around 4 billion with the B dollars. That's massive. In contrast, King Charles in Great Britain only has a $500,000 net worth. Now, stick with me. I'll get to why I think Liechtenstein is often overlooked for its neighbor Switzerland or nearby Italy. The quality of life here is pretty impressive, even though Vaduz is a sleepy little capital town. You're not going to find traffic jams here, but the quality of life, it's in the fast lane. Stroll the main drag here, the Stradel, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. You're going to find a unique mix of high-end shops selling watches, and you're going to find banks mixed with charming little cafes. And heck, over there I even see a place that sells Liechtenstein postage stamps, and of course you can buy postcards as well. And if you're up for it, if you want, you can decide if it's worth it. For 3 Swiss francs, you can get a Liechtenstein stamp in your passport. And by the way, I'm putting out a regular email newsletter with all sorts of travel tips and hacks, things like this, visiting new countries that are off the radar. You can sign up, it's for free, just click on the link in the description. Now, why do I think Liechtenstein is overlooked when countries nearby are so popular like Austria, Switzerland, Italy? Well, I think probably because it's pretty hard to get to, and it's so tiny. I'll give you an idea of how I had to get here today, because there's not a major airport located in this country at all. The nearest one nearby is Zurich. And because I was in Zurich, how I got here today is I took a train about 1 hour to get to the nearby station just over the border in Switzerland. From that station, I took a bus that takes you around 20 minutes to get to here, Vaduz, the capital. So it's not a direct journey, and maybe it's not that easy to get to, which keeps it off the radar for many tourists. But I think this place should be one of those places, if you get a chance, if you're in northern Italy, if you're in Zurich in Switzerland, come on over, check it out because of its size, and it's a financial powerhouse, so it's super clean. It has that Zurich, Switzerland vibe, and it has the Alpine vibe as well. You can come here without all the fuss and all the tourists that you'd find in nearby countries. And yeah, the Alps, they're right up here. And so on a warm summer's day, you can hike and walk the entire country, and you're gonna have half the tourists that you'd normally find in those other countries. It's so damn cool. And for me, it's country number 67. So make it a mission. The next time you're traveling around Europe, take a detour and come to this tiny, rich kingdom, Liechtenstein. Are you from Liechtenstein?
España.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Ah, muchas gracias.
Ah, de nada.
Me gusto mucho. Are you from Liechtenstein?
No, from Austria.
Are you from Liechtenstein?
Yes.
Yes. There are only like 40,000 of you.
Yeah.
What's it like to live here?
What?
Yeah.
Very good.
You're rich.
No.
I thought
Not all people in Liechtenstein are rich.
just the
Not
money's in the
really.
banks.
Yeah, the money's in the banks.
But the quality of life is good here.
Yeah,